So much so to the point where we have been taunted. You bringing up bread basket items again? You're bringing up bread basket items again. For 2 years, we have been saying to the government, you need to make the adjustment to deal with the cost of living crisis. Yet they refuse to listen. 2 years ago, we warned the rising cost, food, pushing Bahamian families to the brink. And instead of acting decisively, this government ignored the suffering and chose to continue taxing the poor on the most basic necessities. Now, at a time when families have been struggling to put food on their table for years, they pat themselves on the back because they finally decided to reduce VAT on food, but only to 5%. That is not enough. That is not enough. The people of this country, needed zero VAT on food. They needed zero VAT on food 2 years ago. We told you 2 years ago to do and to follow the examples of other countries. We told them to look at Portugal. We told them to look at Spain, to look at Germany and Trinidad and Tobago. Instead, this administration has spent those years, Madam Speaker, instead, this administration has spent those years taxing the people and did nothing to bring down the cost of food in this country. Madam Speaker,
there's a member on the floor.
If this government had acted when we first raised this issue 2 years ago, Bahamians would have already seen relief.
I wanted relief 2022.
While you are patting yourselves on the back, boasting about half measures and empty gestures, I ask you, what possible justification could you have for keeping VAT on medication? What possible justification could you have for keeping VAT on medication? What possible excuse could you offer to the sick, to the elderly, the most vulnerable in our society who are struggling just to afford their medication? What possible justification? You've already halved it for food. What possible justification could you keep it on medication? On baby products? On feminine products? And yet this administration chose to reinstate the burden, forcing the sick to pay more, forcing struggling parents to pay more. Madam Speaker, the government also should be taking a proactive approach to any potential negative effects we may face as a result of any possible increased tariffs in the United States. As a country heavily reliant on imports, the Bahamas sources a significant portion of goods, including food, electronics, construction materials, and household items, either directly from China or indirectly through the United States. Higher tariffs will drive up the cost for U.S. importers, who will inevitably pass this increase down the supply chain, making everyday necessities even more expensive for Bahamians who are already struggling with inflation. Madam Speaker, the Davis administration owes the Bahamian people an explanation. Why has it seemingly abandoned its own borrowing plan for the 2024-2025 fiscal year, which just months ago they published? This is their plan. This is what they told the Bahamian public they would do. That very report stated that new borrowings for the fiscal year would be limited to $69.8 million, matching the projected deficit. Yet now, the government is seeking an additional $300 million to borrow. If, as the Prime Minister claims, the government is on track to meet the $70 million deficit target, then there should not be a need for this massive new loan. But, Madam Speaker,
That's justification?
here is an even more pressing question.
Let's hear it.
An even more pressing question remains.
Let's hear it.
Remember the $500 million IDB back loan? Remember that $500 million IDB back loan that was just put in place last year?
What happened to that?
The one that was not supposed to be for rollover debt?
Well,
The one that was not granted parliamentary approval?
tell us about it.
Why is the government not using the $500 million it received last year? The government categorically stated that this loan was not to be used for debt repayment. So why or where is that money? The Ministry of Finance said in their statement, this is the Ministry of Finance statement that I'm quoting. They said $500 million inter-IDB loan, guarantee-backed loan, will, and I quote, support some of the necessary infrastructure, education, and social welfare needs. Well, if that was the case, then why couldn't they put the monies from the $500 million loan inside the infrastructure fund? Madam Speaker, the Bahamian people deserve better than a government that operates with reckless disregard of the fiscal discipline. This administration has proven time and time again that they are more focused on luxury travel and have failed to address the real struggles of Bahamian people. Madam Speaker, the numbers tell a story of not just financial indiscipline, but it is a betrayal of the public trust. The Office of the Prime Minister was allocated, right inside here you'll see it, allocated $569,000 for travel for the entire year. They put that figure in here. None of us on this side put that figure in here. That's what they did. They put that they would spend $569,721. But just in 6 months, they blew nearly $2.25 million and almost 400% overspend. How does this government justify the excessive spending while Bahamians are crushed by the high cost of living? The entire government spent $10 million in just 6 months, which is 80% of the full year's travel. Now, instead of cutting back or being accountable, they have the audacity to increase the travel and subsistence budget by another $3.6 million. But, Madam Speaker, then there is the unexplained spending on COP29 in Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan. In that place.
Yeah, that place.
In that place.
Yeah, they know the name.
I think they've spent enough time there to know the name quite well. The government reallocated in their midterm budget $330,000 for this trip.
That place.
$330,000 for this trip.
That place.
But somehow, over $800,000 from the budget reserve, money that is meant for unforeseen national emergencies, was also used and labeled as climate change expenses. What exactly is a climate change expense? At an international summit. Are Bahamians supposed to believe that over $1.1 million was spent just on one
That place?
trip?
Place there?
Madam Speaker, are Bahamians supposed to believe that over 1.1 million was spent on just one trip? Madam Speaker, I want to quickly just read. This is from the Guardian's editorial. Egregious travel spending. And I adopt this on our table.
What?
Its apologists can say what they want, but the Davis administration extravagant spending on travel is nothing short of egregious. What has occurred is that at the start of this fiscal year, and here's the point. At the start of the fiscal year, the government presented one figure for travel in the budget. But within weeks, funds were reallocated to sufficiently or to significantly increase the travel budget. They presented a budget, weeks later, they didn't change it. This is deliberately misleading. They put one figure in the budget for optics, fully aware that they plan to spend far more. This lack of transparency is a slap in the face to Bahamian people who are footing the bill for these lavish excursions. Madam Speaker, the Davis administration handling Grand Bahama redevelopment is nothing short of a disgrace. Marked by broken promises,
Your tongue just now.
secrecy, and a complete disregard for the people who call this island home. Madam Speaker, the airport. There seems to be a sudden shift from the public-private partnership for the Grand Bahama International Airport
Protection, man.
to an all-encompassing mystery deal lumped together with the long-stalled Grand Lucayan sale. What has happened to the $200 million that was supposed to be secured for the Grand Bahama International Airport? Can we please get an update as to what's happening with the Grand Bahama Airport? Madam Speaker.
Sit down if you got the money.
By the way, what's happening, Madam Speaker? What's happening with the property in West End? We are hearing some very disturbing news about what's happening at the hotel property in West End. What's happening with that property? We are hearing news, or we are hearing reports, which we hope are not true, about there is going to be a closure or some sort of issue happening at, can we please get what is happening with respect to that hotel? Even more relevant is what's happening, Madam Speaker, with the touted Afro-Caribbean marketplace. Madam Speaker, just in today's paper, the members from the Grand Bahama Port Authority, they asked the question, is there a feasibility study? Is there a financial plan to determine the feasibility? Officials at the GBPA says they don't believe one exists. That's what they say in their.
That's what they say. They fall in.
The chair recognizes the honorable member for Pine Ridge.
Clarification.
So that's what you work for. Yeah, people didn't want you to talk.
Point of clarification.
Yeah, remember the floor.
I will address this when I speak later, but I want to put on the record that communications have been had with the Grand Bahama Port Authority, and they know for a fact that we would have given them what they needed in order to proceed. So we're going to address that later, but to clarify all of that, the Port Authority knows full well why it hasn't closed yet. And it's the Port Authority's fault. They know. Has nothing to do with the government. The government is prepared. The government is ready to go. The government has it budgeted for. And it is the Grand Bahama Port Authority, not the government of the Bahamas.
Thank you, Honorable Member. East Grand Bahama, you may proceed.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, is there a feasibility study? Is there a feasibility study?
The chair recognizes the Honorable Member for Pine Ridge.
In June of last year, the government of the Bahamas signed a project preparation facility for the development of this Afro-Caribbean marketplace. The project preparation facility deals with the feasibility study, the architectural renderings, and all of that. Right now, the issue is the acquisition of the land, which the Port Authority is holding up on because since 2006, the bazaar owners and the member for Kalani, we spoke about this the other day, the land owners owe the Port Authority for some maintenance charges. I would know. I would be aware of that, right? And so this is a $1.5 million amount that the bazaar owners owe that should have been written off. This is almost 20 years. And it would have been written off, and the Port Authority indicated that they were prepared to write that off so that development can happen. So actually, this has nothing to do with the government. It has everything to do with the Port Authority, who is right now holding on because of other matters. But at the end of the day, this will be done because the government is now working on this $1.5 million that they say is owed. But the Grand Bahama Port Authority, who is supposed to be the city managers, the developers of the cities, they are the ones who are holding up the progress in their own city. Because the government of the Bahamas doesn't really need to be doing this in the city of Freeport. We are fixing a mess that no other government fixed, and that the Port Authority, who are the city managers, did not fix. That's why I can tell you. That's why I can tell you that these are all outstanding fees that the Port Authority could let go, because at the end of the day, the Port Authority is going to benefit from the licensees in this marketplace. We are fixing their problem.
Thank you, Honorable Member.
I don't know what my time is.
None.
I saw the last I saw that I was at. I spent 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Yeah, 23. Okay, very well. I will move on. The Bahamian housing crisis has spiraled out of control, Madam Speaker. Yet the government has failed to deliver real solutions for middle-class families. Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, I don't know, Madam Speaker, but I think I may be doing a good job. I think I may be doing a good job. I am doing a good job, Madam Speaker. I'm doing a good job, Madam Speaker. I am on the right track, Madam Speaker. I'm on the right track.
The chair. Members. The chair recognizes the Honorable Member for Carmichael.
Not one home was built. Not one. About housing crisis, you better skip that paragraph. Skip that paragraph.
Let me get this.
Housing crisis.
Members.
What y'all dealing with?
Madam Speaker.
They don't have nothing to talk about. They don't have nothing to talk about. They grasp for
Honorable
now.
members, settle down.
Madam
settle
Speaker,
down.
you know, Madam
Settle
Speaker,
down.
Madam Speaker, today we start the season of Lent.
Yeah, we thought.
And the
Honestly,
devil is
Madam Speaker, on a point of order, it behooves me
We home. We behold
how
over
the
here.
honorable member for East Grand Bahama people talk about the housing crisis and a crisis. They have no moral authority, Madam Speaker. They say nothing to us. They ain't built no house. They changed in the first time in the history of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. They changed the policy. I said they ain't building no house. They have no moral authority to talk to us whatsoever, Madam Speaker. None.
Madam Speaker,
Get away.
the IMF has warned of a unsustainable housing crisis, reporting that the real estate and rental prices jumped 14% over the past decade, while wages barely move. Bahamians are being pushed further and further away from ever owning a home. But, Madam Speaker, they can really get excited about this one. Where is the Ministry of Housing? Where is the promised $20 million housing initiative? Over a year ago, the government boasted about plans to build affordable homes, but to this day, they have failed to provide an update on how much of the $20 million has been spent and how many homes has the $20 million, how many homes have the $20 million gone to? Madam Speaker.
Release that report, Bell.
Madam Speaker, on the...
Release the report.
Tell us, Madam Speaker, they came to the House of Assembly and they spoke boldly. They spoke boldly about the $20 million loan initiative.
Yes.
They said that this was going to go towards housing for middle to low income.
Yes.
We actually support that going to housing. We actually support the housing initiative. But tell us, how much of the $20 million was spent on those houses?
Yes.
Tell us how many houses were built
Yes.
based on the $20 million.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
You know, a minute ago, Madam Speaker, when I raised the housing issue, everybody jumped up to defend this. Everybody wondered how in the world I could speak about this. Everybody wondered what moral authority we had to speak upon this. But, Madam Speaker, when we asked the question, how many houses were built with this $20 million? Mum's the word, Madam Speaker. Mum's the word. Madam Speaker, we note.
Why did you think there was
We note the Road Traffic Act.
What did you see? That caused you to do the report?
We note that the Road Traffic Act made an about face. The My Gateway platform stands as a powerful solution to modernize government services and enhance efficiency and protect against fraud. Yet the Davis administration has failed to fully harness its potential. This platform has already streamlined processes such as passport renewals, driver's license applications, but its capabilities could go much further. By integrating real-time digital tracking of insurance policies, for example, we could revolutionize the enforcement of traffic laws, ensuring an immediate verification. So we believe that My Gateway can be used as a solution. Madam Speaker, I began, Madam Speaker, with a story of tragedy. But I will end this message with a message of hope. Despite our challenges, election coming. Despite the struggles we face, election is coming. The Bahamas, we believe, has limitless potential. We believe the Bahamas has limitless courage and unwavering strength. We are a people, Madam Speaker, who rise. We are a people who endure. And yes, we fight, but we fight for a better tomorrow. That's why we on this side are fighting. That's why we on this side are talking. That's why we on this side are standing up, because we are standing up for a better tomorrow. This is all of our homes, Madam Speaker. This is all of our homes.
But you didn't practice.
And Madam Speaker, the Bahamas is worth fighting for. The Bahamas is still worth fighting for. Madam Speaker, we are stronger than our setbacks. We are greater than our divisions. And we are capable of achieving more than we have ever imagined. Madam Speaker, the best days of the Bahamas are still ahead of us.
Under the PLP.
And so, Madam Speaker, we await this government's, we like thousands of Bahamians. In fact, just this morning, coming off the plane, somebody said to me, boy, I can't wait until they call general election. I say, boy, I can't wait either.
Stop it.
I say, I can't wait either. But, Madam Speaker, there is hope with the Free National Movement.
Keep hope alive.
There is hope with the Free National Movement, Madam Speaker. There is hope under the leadership of Michael Pintard, the Member of Parliament for Marco City, Madam Speaker. There is hope for this country under the Free National Movement, Madam Speaker. Thank you very much.
Madam Speaker, feeling good today. I give you an extra minute for that election pitch.